another one. Just get it in your body. How about how many of you know the stories of Star Wars? It's been around a long time. Star Wars, make some noise. So, and the main character of Star Wars is an ordinary life. What's his name? Luke. And Luke lives on this desert planet, and he's bored, and he dreams of adventures, and he wants more, but nothing ever changes until one day he gets the call. How does he get the call? Well, this man comes to town with these droids, and one of them gets injured, and he's trying to help fix it, and all of a sudden this beam of light comes out, and there's Princess there, three-dimensional in front of him, calling for Obi-Wan to help save the universe. Please come save me. Please come help. And he gets excited about the possibility of going on an adventure to save the universe. And as he does that, he gets excited, but, a lot of people get excited initially. Oh, the seminar is a perfect example. I'm so excited. But you got to turn that excitement into an ongoing plan of action, right? And you got to integrate it into your body. We're doing as much as we can 2 or 3 hours a day. By the way, today, I know we went late yesterday. I apologize, but I just want to give you as much as I could. How many got some good things out of the relationship part we did in addition yesterday as well? Plus, I wanted you to meet Sage and get a feel for that as well and hear her perspective. But today, we'll keep it a little tighter. I think we'll be able to do some 2.5 hours instead of 3. But we'll keep it tight. But my point is, when you get this excitement, it doesn't necessarily last unless you push through your fears. Unless you make yourself do something you would never normally do. That's how you shift your identity. And he starts to pull back, and then something happens. He goes back and finds the Empire had come in and killed both of his aunt and uncle who were the ones raising him. They're dead. And so now he's going on the journey. There's zero question. And so he meets his mentor. And in those cases, you remember it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? This wise man. And he starts to go on the journey, and he meets some other allies. The Wookiee man. He meets Han Solo. He meets the princess. And there's a point where he can't go back. Right? He's in the middle of the fight. He's in the middle of the wars. He's crossed the threshold. There's no point of return. He can only go forward. How many of you ever put yourself in a place where you made it so you could only go forward? There was no way to go back, and you discovered you had a way to go forward, even though you never thought it was possible. People, if you really want to take the island, then burn your boats. Because if there's no way to go back, if there's a way to go back, your brain will rationalize it. Oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the people, I don't know the right things, I don't have the skill, I don't have the background, all the limiting beliefs and stories. But if you have no way to go back, you burn the boats. It's amazing what human beings will do. You'll take that island. And that's pretty much where it starts happening when you cross that threshold. And then, of course, now he goes into all those battles. Battles with the outside, battles with the Emperor, battles with Darth Vader, the most evil guy. And here's one of the most important principles to write down. Really important. If you want to be a great hero, you need great opponents. In other words, the size of the hero is in direct proportion to the size, quality, intensity of the opponent. If you remember my friend Anthony Hopkins made a film years ago called Silence of the Lambs. How many saw that film? Make some noise. And what made Jodie Foster become so amazing was she had a deal with an opponent called Hannibal Lecter, who he could walk in the room and he could smell her and diagnose her and knew she came, from a trailer park and got her to tell him the stories and figured out what was driving her. I mean, he was evil and intense and brilliant, and so she had to become more. And let me just tell you one of the things that's helped me most in my life, and some of you, again, watching your videos last night, so I changed the content this morning. You need to understand that in the middle of the worst battle, you're going to make it through as long as you don't give up and keep moving forward. But, I used to say, why? Why is this happening? Why has God put me through this? And I stopped doing that. I started feeling it takes a lot now to knock me off my center because, I've gone on a lot of journeys by the time I'm 64, and I put my house on the line over and over again. So you develop a certain level of confidence by enough experience. But now it rarely happens. If it does, and I start to feel something's getting me, I start to go, a worthy opponent. And that should be your goal. Your goal is, a worthy opponent. It might be an external opponent. It might be your husband or wife. They're not really the opponent, but it feels like it because you need to grow. It might be your kid that's the worthy opponent right now, keeping you up all night, right? The worthy opponent might be a competitor in business. The worthy opponent might be somebody in your company. But a worthy opponent makes us have to go battle and find another part of ourselves. And as we battle and fight and battle, we eventually get an insight or a set of insights that transform us. That's that final step. So he goes out and he fights Darth Vader. He fights all these people. He blows up the Jet Star, and he comes back the hero, all of them together with his allies, and that's how the film ends. Of course, as soon as you finish one journey, usually life gives you another one, right? So there's the comeback story, the next story. And the comeback is the enemy comes back, right? They're going to come attack them. And in that story, he goes on another journey. He finds a new mentor, Yoda. And he trains him what to do, and he shows him how to use the Force, and he wants him to lift up rocks with his mind, just feeling the energy around him and lift things up. How many remember the scene? Know what I'm talking about? Any of you out there? Right? And in that scene, sure enough, what happens? He tries and tries, and it doesn't work. He goes, it's impossible. It's too hard. It's too big. And Yoda says, judge by size? Would you judge me by that? He goes, well, you should not, for the Force comes through me. And he gives him this coaching. And he still doesn't get it. So Yoda gives him an experience. Remember I said, belief is a poor substitute for an experience. That's why we do events. That's why we immerse people. It's like we can talk for a little bit, but when you do it 12 hours a day and night for 3 or 4 days, you become it. And so what happens? Yoda, suddenly he goes off and goes, you want me to do the impossible. And he storms off, being immature, not realizing who he is yet. And Yoda just sits there and thinks like this and channels the energy. And all of a sudden, this beautiful music comes up and the entire ship comes out of the water and floats over and lands. And the classic line that happens there, he goes, I can't believe it. And Yoda says, that is why you fail. Right? And it's like the ultimate education. Every story has that education. And in the end of that story, he's fighting Darth Vader, the greatest enemy he thinks, external enemy in the world. And Darth Vader succeeds in chopping off his arm. And he's telling him, come to me to the dark force. And he won't do it. He goes, I am your father. Holy shit. Right? There's a twist for you. Now your opponent's your own father. How do you deal with that? So these are the stories of humanity. The most successful stories of any form, romance, battle, epics, rom-coms, they all have a hero component. And I think it's time for you to create that for yourself. Who's up for that here? Say aye. Awaken it, stand tall. I want you to touch wherever your warrior is. Wherever your warrior is, like Cynthia did. Where's your warrior? What's the color? Make the sound as loud as you can. Wake up the warrior before we begin. Do it again. Wake up your warrior. One more time. Wake up your warrior. Now. Find your magician. Where is your magician? Find the magician. What's the color? What's the feel? Make the sound of your magician, whatever it is that knows it can change it all in a heartbeat. It's the quality of my life is where I focus. I can change it all in a moment. Make sure the magician has a little smile because he knows this game is so winnable. It looks impossible right now in the middle of this battle, but there's something I'm going to figure out, and the battle will be over in a matter of moments. And find your lover. Touch the part of you where the lover lives. The color of the lover. Breathe in the lover in you. The one that loves life. The one that loves whatever made you, whatever you call that, God, the universe. The one that loves those around you. The one who loves to play, to work, to grow, to give. The part of you that loves challenge and knows you can conquer it all and enjoy the process. And then go to your wise one. Go to your sovereign, your king or queen. Where are they? Touch that part again. Make sure it's fully awake. Breathe in the color of your sovereign. Feel the certainty of your sovereign that's about to guide you on this journey. The wisdom of your sovereign that knows it looks like you lost the battle, but you're going to win the war. You're learning from everything. Every relationship, what you thought was failure was nothing but a learning that you can use now to go to the next level. Feel it. And then feel like all of them are integrating together in your heart all at once. Feel the warrior, the magician, the lover, and the sovereign. Make the sound of all of them in your heart at once.